Howdy, swingers, and good morning. Welcome to Macca's Old School, episode 11. Today is Wednesday, June the 15th. We have a special guest again today. I've got a couple of announcements to make first, and I have to thank, firstly, a bit of a fan of ours, and we're most grateful, Dan from Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. Thank you very much for your support, mate. We really appreciate it. We're doing our best to have some more good stories coming up, and we appreciate that. The gentleman we have in today is we've spoken to before. It's all on public record. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not really promoting anything too much. We're just having a nice little discussion, and that'll be terrific. We also would like to just give you a little update on Help a Prossie. That'll be coming up soon to help some kids. I've raised some money for some nappies and what have you. I mentioned this in episode 3, 4 and 5. So thanks very much for all that. Okay, our special guest, who we haven't mentioned, we did a 2-part Underworld series. Well, it went so well, and by the graces of this gentleman, he's back for a 3rd part. So I lied. It wasn't 2 parts. It's a 3rd part. It's part 3. And I would like to welcome you this morning, Mr. Graham Abbott Henry. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having me. Oh, thanks very much for coming back.
No worries.
You're a bloody rock star. That's all I can say. I
don't know about that. People would like to throw some rocks at me.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have another little chat with you this morning, and as usual, we'll get stuck straight into it.
No worries, mate.
So what I'd like to ask you about is those the earlier days, whether it was in your 20s, 30s, whatever, when you did a lot of collection, whether it be collections, Standover, or protection for brothels, whatever.
Yeah.
In that period, I would imagine 99.9% of the time people would give it up. But I'd also imagine someone's going to go, well, hang on, what's going on here? What sort of rivalries and interactions and if you've got a baseball bat, do they pull out something else? Or what sort of things happen on that? And we're talking days of early, the golden days of the cross and all that.
Well, this is before I would have got involved in organised crime. But I'd been sort of running around since I was a young bloke doing protection stuff with all the tow truck drivers, and that brought rivalry, of course, but mainly between the two opposing oppositions that we were causing all the troubles for. Yeah. So we'd cause the trouble. Yeah. And blame, naturally it'd be blamed on the other fucking tow truck mob. Yeah, yeah. And they'd start, then they'd come to us. Mm-hmm. And because they had a bit of a reputation around at the time in those days, and they'd come to me and say, "Oh, I'll sort that out." So, we might go and bomb one of their fucking trucks or burn it out or fucking, and that'd cause a little bit of fucking havoc. So then there'd be a reprisal from that mob to that mob, but we were the ones causing the problem. Yeah, yeah. We were collecting from both sides. Yeah, yeah, and, right. They didn't know for years and years and years.
Tit for tat. Yeah.
Probably 10 years before someone even jerried. But those sort of things brought about a couple of people confronting me over the years with a few people. Yeah. And but I got a little bit of a smell of it before they happened. So I was always pretty lucky that way. So forewarned is forearmed, and
that's it, yeah.
And so if they turned up and brought a weapon with them, well, they'd get either beaten severely, or they'd get a fucking whatever they produced, they'd get one back. Yeah, so, yeah. None of them ever pulled guns on me, but I pulled them on them. Yeah,
yeah. Most people shit in their boots straight away.
I mean, there was many easy sort of ones where you could get a quid from even garages. There used to be a garage in Ryde. I won't say which one it was, but the Italian bloke ran it, and I used to just pull in there. Well, in those days, they used to have the cash things at this garage inside near the Bowsers. Yeah, and right. So because they were getting so much traffic coming through there,
busy.
They'd be out there. That's when they had the attendants out there. You didn't fill your own car.
Yeah, right.
So they'd have these little cash tins. They'd open them up and pull it out. Well, I used to just pull up there and clean them out, and then I'd just fill up my car and drive off. Well, And, you know, but I had that bloke so sweet. Anyway, he started to get a little bit smelly on it and give me up to the police one night. So just as we were coming there, and as I pulled up down the back, I was going up there to have a little talk to him.
Yeah.
And all the police from Eastwood pounced on me and took me and arrested me and charged me with some just stupid little crimes, because they couldn't prove anything.
Yeah,
you know. And he didn't really want to come down and give me up. He didn't mind doing it over the telephone, but he didn't want to confront me and do it.
Yeah, I bet you he regretted it.
So anyway, so a few months later, I remember driving along, going into town. I was actually going into a place called Hazyland in Surrey Hills, an old nightclub, a fucking bloodhouse it was. Yeah. And as I was going in there, I see this bloke cruising along, and he's fucking hotted up Holden. Yeah. So I pulled him over and made him get down the middle of Blackstone Road and stuck a Magnum in his mouth. Oh. And was it a Magnum then? Yeah, I think it was. It was
357.
Yeah, it was a big 357, and I stuck it straight in his gob and put the fret fucking right on him. So he kept on, you know. I mean, they were the easy ones, and you know, poor bastard, he was only trying to earn a quid, but you know, I was a bit hot on him, and you know, I didn't have much fucking filter in those days as a young bloke, you know. But you know, there were other times with brothels. I can remember one with a brothel one night, and well, we'd actually set up a little bit of a deal. It was supposedly a hash deal. Yeah, right. We were going to be selling the hash, of course, which wasn't hash. Yeah, right. It was fucking dog soap, fucking cut into bars, and fucking with a bit of hash oil spread on top, wrapped up in alfoils, and they were supposed to be like pound lots. In those days. You sold things by the pound, not the kilo. You know, so
hash was big in the 80s. I believe it was
big
huge.
Seller, and Buddha sticks and all that sort of thing. See, so we started setting up a lot of them, you know, and so there was always rivalries with them type of sort of things. I remember this night in particular that we set up one, and anyway, when we got in touch with these people, they ran a brothel out at Blacktown, and anyway, we got in touch with them and through other people, and there was going to be this deal. They were going to turn up at Pennant Hills and meet us, and then do this deal with us down the road. Well, naturally, we were just going to rob them, you know. And I had a big machine gun at the time. It was a Smizer. Oh, wow. And so we just thought we'd take them down the back of Pennant Hills where the Oval was and spray a bit up in the air. Well, it had gas holes all up the side of it. So when you fired it in the night, it'd have fucking, you could see flames coming out of it, you know. Oh, shit. And not massive flames, but
I know what you mean,
and it fired fucking, you know, rapid fucking, you know.
It was like a World War II or post-World War II.
Oh, no, it was a fucking newer gun than that. It was a real top-of-the-line gun, the Smizer. Shit. And anyway, so here we are sitting there waiting for these fucking people to turn up. Yeah. And they had the same intention, these people, you know, to rob us. So
this is
next minute, I said to my mate, you go up there and meet the bloke. And when you meet him, drive him down where the meet's going to be, pretend you won out, and then I'll fucking follow you. So I'm sitting in the car. Next minute, I can see him stick his head into the car and start talking to him. Yeah. And next fucking minute, he's fucking laughing, you know, and I'm going, what the fuck are you laughing at? So next fucking minute, he's going, come here. And I went, what's this prick doing, calling me up here? I want him to see me. Yeah. And next minute, he's going, come here. So I get out of the fucking car and just fucking walk up there. And here's two of these blokes, a bloke named Charlie Lowe. Charlie Lasoto was his proper name. He had a bit of a reputation. He was a big drug dealer. Yeah, right. You know? And the other bloke with him was a bloke who's now turned Crime Commission informant. And he's actually suing the Crime Commission because they didn't pay him enough money. He'd got 2 million out of them. He wanted 20. Shit. But his name was David John Kelleher. They used to call him the Blonde God. You can read up about him in crime books over the years, tied up with Neddy Smith and that early. Yeah. And he was a pretty big heroin dealer. First bloke to ever get life. Anyway, he jumped out. He fancied himself a fucking bit. And as he got out, walked up the car and they said, oh, we should have fucking known better. It was you. Yeah. So we had a bit of a laugh about it. Yeah. Anyway, I looked in the window and Charlie said, well, you would have got that. And he had a 45 in his hand. And I said, well, come down
Guess
here.
what?
Come down here. So I took him down and opened up the fucking boot, and I said, "That's what you were getting, motherfucker."
You were getting that. Yeah, which is a bit bigger.
So that was, you know, that was quite a fucking funny night. But you know,
I used to play footy on that oval. The
Oh, did
Penadills,
you?
the Stags,
yeah,
the young bloke. Yeah, I know the exact
well, I
place.
played on them myself. I
Yeah.
played for the Devils, so
Did you?
Epping
Yeah.
Devils, But I was mainly used to run out and just get into the fights. That's all I played for.
Yeah.
But you know, I was pretty ordinary at fucking rugby league. I
Yeah.
was all right at union, but getting back to that, all those sort of things happened, and then, you know, I started to get into little tricks where we get into pubs and put on. This is as I got a little bit older, heading into my 30s,
Yep.
and I was starting to run around with Neddy Smith. So I was about 24, 25.
Yep.
That's about 1970, 76 it would have been.
Yeah, right.
And
When did you first meet Neddy Grove?
I met him in prison at Long Bay, at Parramatta Jail
Yep.
in 1974 when I was serving a sentence here for bashing up some Commonwealth police.
Yeah, right.
And anyway, he was serving, I think, 13 years with a 6 for rape.
Yeah, right.
Him and his mate Bobby Chapman, and then he was released early because he held a prison warden's head together after Denning and that had caved his head in, trying to make an escape. Raymond Denning.
Yeah, yeah.
And they released him a little bit early, and he got out because of his action involved in his head together, which, you know, even though he was a screw, it was a good action. And
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Helped him out too. Yeah.
you know, but he ended up dying of his injuries, of course.
shit.
And
Yeah.
but that's where I first met him. He was a big towering bloke, and you know, massive reputation. He could fight like a thrashing machine. I mean, he's 6'6", 18 stone, super fit.
Yeah.
Didn't touch weights. Wasn't really much of a bloke who got into the weights.
Yeah.
Was more into, you know, he didn't even do too much training that I can recall. He was just a natural build.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I met him there, and then 76 I got out and walked into the Governor Burke Hotel on
Yep.
Parramatta Road, just near the old Student Prince Hotel.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
walked in there, and there he was at the bar, and we started to yak, and from that day on we ran until 1985, so about nearly 10 years.
Yeah, right.
About 9 years I got with him, but you know, we had a lot of disagreements in that time. We fucking tried to kill each other. We fucking but look, I've spoken about that before that many times.
Yeah. The drink got him a bit, didn't it? And,
In the end, it got to his liver, and you know, and he was in a pretty bad way with it. They told him if he drunk again, he'd die.
Yeah.
And but after that, he got sentenced to life on top of life.
Yeah.
And he died not long ago, about 6 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And but he served 34 years in the prison, so that's how long ago it was, you know.
Yeah.
So when you look back, it seems a fucking lifetime ago.
Oh,
But
and the Parkinson's a bastard too, isn't it? I
yeah,
mean, you know.
oh
it's-
yeah. Well, he had that since 1979.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but prior to that, what we were doing, I said, listen, you know, some of these little tricks I used to pull off when I was a young bloke, we'll do it now with the pubs. So
Yeah.
we used to go around the pubs and we'd take in a crew and we'd pay them and
Yep.
get them to put on a big stink and you know, and attack the barman and
Yep.
you know, and attack the fucking boss.
Yeah.
And then we'd come in and fucking and pull them up the next week. We'd drag them in there by the collars, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In front of the boss, and you know, and we'd build them,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
know, and they were getting paid for it. So
Yeah,
we
right.
wouldn't flog about. We'd just say, you see this bloke, you ever come near this bloke again,
Yeah.
we'll blow your heads off.
Yeah,
right?
right.
So they go, yes, mate, fucking so sorry, we didn't know it was your territory, and
We didn't know your.
so we
yeah.
started doing that. So we could walk into pubs after that, you know, like weekly,
Yeah,
and pick
yeah.
up 500, 1,000,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
just for turning up. So
Yeah.
we'd make it a point of always going to this pub, this pub, this pub, so we could pick up some wages. So
It's pretty and
you
pretty
know,
good money those
yeah,
days
yeah,
too.
well,
It all
you know,
adds
it was
up.
big
yeah.
money, you know,
Yeah,
and
shit.
you know, and then you know, on top of that, we did a million other things, you know, robberies and drug selling and.
Yeah. Well, it
But,
must have been a lot of robberies because it's dog eat dog, really, isn't it? The situation.
Mate,
I
it
mean,
is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, but most of the things prior to me running with Ned, I you know, I like to be on Pat Malone, you know, meaning by myself, I'd do things on my own, and even robberies. You know, I'd do robberies on my own. I might have one bloke drive me away. So sometimes I didn't even bother about that. I'd piss off on a fucking bike down a fucking canal, or you know what I mean. No, I'd
independent.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I like to work on my own, and even around this area, Gladesville. You know, I could fucking go over to the hotels and set up blokes there with, you know, they'd all want to buy all the Buddha sticks when they're out. So I'd go and get a couple of bundles of them. And then underneath, you know, we'd get these dog biscuits from the pet store and fucking put them on a bandsaw and cut them up into sticks, into bundles, and just wrap them up and throw them into all these silver alfoil fucking packets. Right, and just so they're bundles of them, but always put the good stuff on top. And then go and unload them for 15,000, 20,000, you know. And I'd get one of my mates to set them up. He was an ex-fighter. His name's Paulie Hanson. He's dead now, so he'd set them up. And he used to be at work at the Sawdust as the as the bloke on the music, what do they call him?
DJ
the
or
DJ,
whatever.
You know? And he was a very good fighter, actually. You know, he fought all over the place, over other countries and that. And anyway, but he was always fucking a bit terrified of me because he knew I was fucking a little bit fucking, you know, crazy at times. And you know, and so I'd go in there and catch up with him. And then he'd say, oh, that bloke there, he wants to buy a heap of Buddha sticks. I'd say, okay, well, just set him up, tell him you know a bloke, and then I'd set up the meat. So, you know, they'd want whatever it was. It'd be, say, about 15 grand worth, I can remember this job. And so I met him down under the Meadowbank Bridge. He pulled up down, you know, where the, go down the, well, they're all big units in now.
It's changed.
In those days it was TEI, Telephone Electrical Communications, or whatever it was. And,
industrial sort of area.
So you go down the back there, and I'd come down from the other side of the railway, and he'd reversed in the thing as if they could keep their eye on who was coming in. Well, I come down from behind over the railway and down the track, and I said to me, mate, I'll fake hit you, and I give him some blood pellets, and I said, you got to chew on them. And as you do, you get out of the car, I said, I'll put my hand on the side of your face and I'll make the sound. You go down and bite the pellet, right? So it looks
just like in the movies.
So that's what he was expecting. But when he got out of the car, I actually just fucking upended him. You know? So the other bloke got out and ran around, and I jammed a blade in him.
Oh,
see, so anyway, we took it, and he took him up to the hospital.
Right.
And anyway, come back up the pub, and he had a big fucking eye like this fucking big me, mate. Anyway, but I said, well, it was worth the money. Here's fucking $5 grand for you.
Money. We wanted to make it look good.
So I was always doing that. Or I'd steal someone I knew was a police informer. I'd steal their car and I'd use it in the fucking robbery. Right? You know what I mean? So they'd fucking go and haunt them, you know what I mean? We're only talking other drug deals. I didn't steal it and rob a bank and get him caught for a fucking stealing a bank. But, you know, they were the sort of things I did to keep myself a fucking float and firing along. And then, you know, I just progressed into different things. I always thought outside the square and did different things than blokes my own age, you know, like even at 15, as I say, I was doing armed robbery. So, you know what I mean? So it, and doing that Standover thing, and plus I run the prostitution ring out the back of a little van. Which I've spoken about on a few podcasts. And you know, so always did things like that progressed into different things. And then I started running with Ned when he had police help, and I realised that. And so naturally I thought, well, this is the best thing since I can slice bread. And do a few things. He can get the armed robbery squad suite. And give them a drink, and we can do the crimes with fucking that's pretty much immunity. Right. So,
and like you were saying, you had a name back then as well. So if you are running girls or whatever you're doing, for protection or security wise, I say, well, don't mess with these girls. That's Henry's.
100%.
He's looking after that mob. So you know, and you'd be an idiot otherwise to do it. But
well, they knew that we'd always retaliate. You know.
You know? That's the interesting part. There's so much rivalry between.
And so you know, look. And the main thing always was, and I always said to the blokes, any bloke that I was tied up with, you know, I used to say, sometimes they wouldn't invite me onto a certain crime because I might get too violent.
Yeah.
And next minute the blokes would find out, they'd come and get them and belt them up.
Yeah.
And make them pay the money back. And I'd say, well, that's because you didn't take me.
Yeah,
you took me there in the first place. I would have wounded them that bad they wouldn't have fucking wanted to come back.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, and that was the way that I operated.
Yeah.
You know, and
people knew
as
that.
harsh as that fucking sounds, it's a reality. The more you fucking hurt them, they're fucking less likely to come back.
Yeah.
And if they do, well, they're going to come back strong, and you've got to be willing to do that as well. So
exactly, and a different like technology was nothing like it is today as well. So
nothing,
much
mate.
there was no bloody mobile phones and people tracking you or
fucking
whatever.
cameras anywhere, or
Yeah.
people with fucking videoing you. Or,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I mean,
these days,
so,
you know.
so they were certainly a lot better to get around and do what you wanted to do.
Yeah,
You know, and now today, I mean, you know, everything's just fucking crazy for the
They can pinpoint-
young blokes today. It must be fucking tough out there.
Yeah,
That's all I can fucking say. I'm glad I'm out of it now.
yeah. I mean, they can pinpoint wherever you are, whichever
exactly.
suburb you are,
Yep.
and you know, I can't believe so many people have got caught for different things
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I can remember my mate who was Murray Stewart Riley. He was an ex copper.
Yep.
But he was he only just died not recently in the last year. He was 99.
Jesus, he had a run.
He
yeah.
was Merv Woods, who was the Assistant Commissioner of Police back in the 60s, and he was they were in the sculling group that went to the Olympic Games.
Oh,
And
right.
he was a giant of a bloke, Murray Riley, big
Yeah.
boy. You know, yeah, a bit of a fucking soft cock, really, but,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but he was a cunning old bastard, and anyway, he switched to the other side and started doing criminal behaviour and drug
Yeah.
deals and mixed with the mafia in America. And
Yeah, right.
But I was going to say something there about him. Hey, what I was going to say about him, he got caught in I always remember this, when he actually escaped from an island in Scotland, locked up in a prison over there.
Yep.
Caught him the first time, but what happened? He was in London and he was doing a thing. I think it's called the aerospace fraud.
Right.
It was worth about 60 million or 600 million. I can't remember the exact figure now.
Jeez.
That was massive.
Yeah.
And what happened? They were in a room in a fucking big hotel, and this is in the 80s,
Yeah,
right? This is when they started using satellite technology, and the satellite happened to be over Europe at the time, around that area, and they zoomed in with the fucking thing into the room they were at, and the coppers knew where they were, and they picked up all the conversation as they walked out of that big hotel where they were meeting. You know, say it was the Chevron or wherever it was. They walked out, bang, they walked straight into the arms of the police. Now, because the police didn't want them to ever talk about how they got pinched,
Yep. Yeah.
right? What technology was used on them,
Yeah.
they said, if you shut your mouth and don't bring that up in the court system and everything, just cop it sweet, we'll give you 3 years with 10 months and we don't give a fuck what happens to you, mate. We're going to put you on the island in Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he pissed off. He was caught. Someone sprung him, some other prison officer, at the end, somewhere near the end of Scotland, about to board a fucking boat somewhere. And so they took him back to the same prison farm,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And then he pissed off again. So he pissed off, got back here to Australia, and lived in the Gold Coast for the rest of his days with his wife, Carol Dean.
In the sun.
Yeah, his ex-husband used to be the boss of South Sydney Leagues in the old days, when they were skimming the poker machines, the McPherson gang and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, so that was technology at its best.
Isn't
that
that interesting?
You know what I
And
mean?
that's back in the 80s.
Yeah, that's right.
Imagine what they can do now.
So, you know, we started to, Jerry, of course, to all that sort of stuff. And the only phones that anyone carried around, they were usually car salesmen or drug dealers with them big block fucking battery things in a bag.
That's right.
You know
We used
what
to
I
call
mean?
them the house brick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you could always tell when they
Motorola.
were the drug dealers, especially the car yard drug dealers,
Yeah,
because they'd have 30 gold change around their neck and they stood out like dog balls. You know what I mean? They'd walk into the pub with these phones and get on them like they were big
And you
shots.
had the aerial, the big shot. It was. We used to call them house brick.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
could club someone with the phone.
Oh,
yeah.
fucking kill them with them.
The old Motorola's they used to bring out, but they were bloody good. They had good reception, actually.
Oh, yeah, they had good reception. They were great. They were good to set up in your car and fucking, you know.
Yeah,
But you know, and then, you know, and then naturally the phone fucking got smaller and smaller and smaller, and you know, so we'd sit around, if we were sitting around when we had them, you know, we'd pull them to pieces, and well, now they're hard to pull the pieces to get the battery out, you know what I mean? So, you know, we did all that sort of stuff, and, you know, but as I said to you once before, I'd rather drive to Melbourne than give someone a letter and then fucking say what I was going to say to them, and then eat the fucking thing in front of them. You know what I mean? Then drive home. You know, and the message might have been, meet you Thursday, we'll rob this place, and you know what I mean? So that's what I'd rather do, and it kept me in good stead because I'm the only bloke out of all of my crew. And many of the crooks in Sydney in that organised crime that never got taped. I mean, I got taped talking in my house, but, you know, I'd be talking to my kids, my wife, but never taped talking about crimes. You know, and I barred it. I barred it in my car, and my whole team, I said, you talk in the house, talk in your car, then you're going to fucking pay for it, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? So shut the fuck up and we'll get through the break here. You know what I mean?
Loose lips.
Of course, you can have some of the coppers on side some of the time. And you can't have them all on side.
That's right.
So there's always someone out looking for you.
To be a star.
You know, it doesn't matter if you've got a fucking, this so-called green light. You know what I mean? You know, you can get that off certain corrupt cops that we got. But, you know, but that green light didn't, you know, I've heard people talking about it just recently, you know, oh, this green light, you know, must have been given information for it, fucking, well, I fucking certainly fucking wasn't. You know, and never have, and no one's ever fucking been able to fucking say anything like that about me.
No, that's right.
And thank fucking heavens. And because they would have been fucking dead. The only bloke who ever fucking said it was the police prosecutor, that Malcolm Spence, who just passed away not long ago. We called him Big Brother because he was who we used in the court system to get people out of trouble for, you know. You know, if you got pinched on a DUI and you come to us and said, I want to beat this, I've already had 5 pinches on it. And didn't want to go to jail, well, we'd make sure you didn't have a record when you went up to court, and that was his job. So he was part of the whole organised crime circle, but he was fishing around one day and he said to me, have you, he said, I believe you you told the Internal Affairs I was driving a stolen Mercedes-Benz that was given to me by the Michael Hurley gang, who we nicknamed the Friendly Gang because they're always friendly to our face, but backstabbed us. You know, so that's where they got the nickname from. So, but, so he was, you know, fishing around trying to find out where it was really coming from, but he said it in the wrong context, and I brooded over it, and I ended up going to jail over him. I stabbed him in the stomach, and then I fucking stabbed him straight in the neck. You know, well, as the media put it, I actually slashed his throat, as they say. You know, but that's the fucking media talking. You know, I stabbed him in the fucking neck, and he went down. I got 8 years for it, and lucky I didn't get 25, but you know, as far as the judge was concerned, it was 2 criminals meeting down a laneway, and we wouldn't disclose what we're talking about. So, you know, so he gave me 8 years with a 6. And, but, you know, that was the circle. That was the way it worked. And, you know, and that green light, as I say, people outside that have ever had the green light were usually junkies. You know, and they got that off the police because the police who weren't in what we called the giggle, and the police called it the giggle, in that circle of corruption, with the organised crime gangs, they were getting jealous and wanted to run their own little goes. So say they were out of Blacktown or Bankstown, so they'd pull in a junkie and get them on side and say, there's a robbery up there, it's fucking worth so-and-so, go and rob the fucking joint. And they'd stand over them for 30 grand out of the robbery or something. You know what I mean? So
cunning, isn't it? There's a hierarchy.
So those blokes would go into jail and say, well, I got the green light and this is what they fucking wanted off me. So they interpret that as that's how organised crime had it. But, you know, the mafia had it. Lenny McPherson's gang had it. We had it. You know? Someone was probably fucking giving them fucking help along the way, as my old partner was. And, but, you know, if we knew that 100%, well, he wouldn't have seen the fucking light of day.
Well, the commissioners back then in like the 60s, 70s and that, crooked as a dog's eye.
Everyone, mate.
Yeah,
Right up to the commissioner.
They were, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Commissioner. I know assistant commissioners of police that have received out of massive robberies in Sydney.
Yep.
Received fucking massive amounts.
Yeah.
I know a copper who retired and got $1 million. You know, because he looked after the friendly gang, Michael Hurley's gang.
And again, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of money.
That
Yeah,
was his going away present for being good to them.
Yeah, geez.
But he hated our gang because we were the armed robbers, we were the fucking, you know, the
Foot
heavier
soldiers.
criminals,
Yeah.
where they were the thieves and the drug importers.
Yeah,
and
right.
they had the reputation that they were just thieves, but they were actually some of the biggest drug importers going.
Jeez.
And had the docks.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
And
I remember the commissioner at the time, and I can't recall his name. You might know Graham, but he was with Abe Saffron. He said, "Oh, I don't know anything to do with
Yeah,
Abe
yeah,
or
that
anything
would
like
have
that." And his housekeeper said he's at the parties all the time. I
that
make his drinks.
that would have been Commissioner Allen.
Yep, that's it.
Commissioner
Yep,
Allen
yep.
and Hanson was the assistant commissioner.
Yeah.
And they were all getting, you know,
Yeah.
they were getting whack-ups by the McPherson gang. They were getting for all the illegal activities, all the
Yep.
illegal casinos.
Yeah.
I mean, it flourished in them days.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything was flourishing. They were earning a fortune, the coppers.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I saw an interview with the housekeeper. She's an old bird now,
Yeah.
but she said the same thing. She said,
Yeah.
I used to make his drinks. You
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
He was getting girls and
Yeah.
parties, and you know,
Yeah,
she's-
exactly.
and it was on the telly next day. I have no idea what you're talking about. Like,
That's
you know.
right, yeah. Mate, everyone was getting a drink in them days, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you weren't, well, that was just fucking bad luck for you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And good for us.
Yep.
And, you know, it'd give us plenty of fucking help.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, but look, I only ever used him if I found some place hard to get out of.
Yep.
Like, you know, when I robbed the Cockatoo Island payroll,
Yep.
there's only one road out of there, as you know,
Yep.
coming up from Woolwich to Hunters Hill.
It's a long
then,
road too.
You know,
Yeah.
and you could get blocked there very easily. So, you know, I ended up going by boat after I robbed it. And,
Yep.
you know, and there was a lot more money there than they ever nominated. So there must have been some great ghost workers over there. Because I remember reading in the paper and I thought, fuck me dead, we got nearly double that. So,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So,
And you let the boat run
right.
down the river.
We got the boat and just steered it straight up the river and we're in Lane Cove. And then,
And blokes there fishing.
I remember the news going there, and they were interviewing this bloke who was fishing. He was an Irishman, and he said, I just turned around, I saw a fucking big guy. He said, I beat it up me hook, threw the line back in, mind my own fucking business. You know what I mean? And the council,
Nothing to do with me.
and the council blokes were all sitting there in the truck,
Yeah.
thinking, who are these blokes painting the fucking wharf?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Someone's
you know,
undercover
that's our
here.
job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's our job fucking doing that. So
We
that's a
talked
wonder
about
they
that.
didn't get out and challenge us.
I was going to say, we talked about that last
Yeah.
time. I was, who are you blokes
But,
or whatever?
you know, they would have got a rude fucking shock, unfortunately. But,
yeah,
you know, all of a sudden their paintbrushes turned into fucking guns. So, you know.
And you were Italian.
Yeah, that's right. I was an Italian
Mate,
that day. Oh, sorry, mate. I'm over the car now. You know. So, you know, I always say, you know, look, as I say, look, we didn't pull up in balaclavas and jump out like you see them do.
Yeah.
Even today I was watching something on the news the other night about them doing it. Then they shot the bloke dead and, you know, just silly. I mean, there was no way in the world we were ever going to shoot him because we practiced it so into perfection
Yep.
that
Did your homework.
you know,
Yeah.
you got to do your homework, you know,
Yeah.
and the last thing you want to do is shoot them
Yeah.
and kill them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I know young blokes who tried to do it when I was in the can. And, you know, and I run into them, the young blokes from Piermont, and they, you know, they get $30,000 and shoot the guard dead.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? I like it, you know, like
It's
fuck me dead,
ridiculous.
mate.
He's got
Wouldn't matter
nothing
if
to do
there's
with
a million
anything.
there. We're not going to
Yeah.
shoot them. We
Yeah.
just want to take their money.
We just
and
want the money.
that,
yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's how we, you know, I mean, you've got to do things professionally. The last thing you want to do is shoot them because then you're just going to upset the whole fucking country.
Yeah, of
You know what
course.
I mean? And
Yeah.
they're going to hound you until they found you. Well,
Oh, absolutely. And the media pounce all over
Yeah.
it. And,
I mean,
and plus
I
he's got a
watched-
missus or a mum or
I
something.
mean, I
or-
watched that thing the other night on that, you know, they said that Steve Buttle, so the Comancheros did this shooting down there. Well, I don't know how they fucking worked that out, but,
Yeah.
you know, unless they've got some inside information that he did. But, you know, I can't see how they could even fucking charge him. No one ever recognised them. No one ever fucking, you know, they got a couple of blokes coming through in a black Mercedes Benz through a toll gate somewhere where the black Mercedes wasn't even used in the robbery. It was a white a silver fucking BMW or something, an Audi, and a white BMW as a backup car. So how the fuck they can just, because someone's driving along in a car, they can fucking suspect them.
The whole bikie thing's changed heaps, hasn't it, too? Like, they're going nuts at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of tit-for-tat stuff out there, and
it's a hard scene. It's a thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be around, involved in it all. But,
I wouldn't have a part
you know what
of
I mean?
Yeah.
And they're right, they fucking hound them severely.
Yeah.
And even if they're just fucking in there for the, the camaraderie, and that's what a lot of the blokes are in there for, ex-army blokes, and, I know a lot of them. I know blokes from every gang. I mean, I fucking really like the blokes. So
and the name of a certain club will put fear straight into you. It's like, whoa.
But when they started fucking hitting them, I mean, that Raptor and all that, here they are, Raptor running around, fucking attacking them and charging them with steroids and everything, and these Raptor blokes are full of growth hormones and built like brick shit houses.
Yeah, they are. They're all on the bloody juice,
well,
mate. They're all popped up to the max,
They had to do that to make themselves look intimidating, so...
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I know a few blokes myself in the past
pumped up. They come in hard, but, they got to today, I guess, because, some of the crews out there in the West there are pretty willing bastards, and they, but it's hectic stuff. It's fucking hectic.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
There's so much spotlight on you, whereas you're better off to be out of that spotlight.
I'd rather run under the radar and
absolutely,
you know what I mean, do what we did, and then go and fucking have a drink and give them a sling if we had to, and you know what I mean.
Sit at the pub in the afternoon with a scooter and laugh about it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's
I mean, I can remember the feds trying to get us one night at Brighton Sands. The feds were, and it was a big drug deal, and they were onto it. And I don't know if they were onto it because someone had ratted us or anyway, we just got sniff of it, and there was a couple of jacks that were around like minding the situation, like state police.
Yep.
And as we drove, we said, let's go. We'll just pull the plug on it.
Yeah.
And as we drove off, we drove down under the airport runway, under the tunnel, and the state police fucking pulled over nose to nose in their cars and stopped all the traffic fucking following us. So we just kept going and went whoosh, fucking bang, gone.
Yeah. See you later.
So, I mean, that was the fucking power in them days. But
the wise thing to pull the pin, rather, if
that's right.
Let's can it.
You know what I mean?
Otherwise, we're going to be canned.
But we had all the fucking money on us.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So we had to get through the break. So, and that's what they got fucking paid for.
Yeah.
You know, but just unbelievable.
Full on wild, crazy days in Sydney. Graham, it's unbelievable.
And that's why we didn't have big gangs. I mean, all the blokes running around today, they've got a heap of people in the teams.
Yep.
I mean, might have 100, might have fucking 50, 40.
Yeah.
Like, we had 10 or 15 top odds because we had the power
small and
of
tight,
and that network connection of politicians, of fucking corrupt fucking everyone.
Yeah.
And
you got that group, like you just said, if you've got 60, 70, 100 blokes.
Yeah.
There's more than one rat. Right. Someone's going to go, I'm getting second thoughts. I might, sort of thing.
Well, even when the Mafia come over here with the McPherson crew, and they went over there as well, and, they met up with Meyer Lansky over there, and Meyer Lansky wasn't actually a full-blooded member of the Mafia because he was a Jew. But he was Lucky Luciano's man. But
he had a reputation.
But he was the brains. He was as smart as they fucking come.
And there's big money. Big money involved.
Well, George and all that, went there to learn off him.
Yep.
About the illegal casinos, how they operated, things they did.
Yeah.
And they were going to do it here.
Yep.
And he had pull to open up.
Yeah.
Like legal casinos, not illegal, legal ones. He had the pull into all those places like Circus and the big mobs, right?
Yeah.
And they were going to do that. But they come unstuck one day because Stan, the man Smith, got caught talking about it in the Taipei restaurant in town there, the old Chinese restaurant.
No.
And, anyway, they taped him and the National Crime Authority. And so they had to shut the go down. It was never going to happen. They weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
But that was already in play for them. But But they couldn't believe, when the mafia come here, they couldn't believe the power that the Sydney-based criminals had, and that corruption network they had, for the small amount of blokes that were in the team. I mean, we could have called on 200 people if we needed them. But you know,
that was Lenny McPherson.
That was
time,
McPherson's gang in those days.
And they were making a lot out of slots, the pokies, the one-armed bandits.
They were skimming the pokies, the South Sydney Seniors, that was the first place, then the Motor Club. They took over all them fucking places, you know, all in play. All the illegal casinos, they fucking give the protection, they put people in there, they set up their own goes. You know,
there was a lot around Balmain and that I heard in the day, and you get bloody actors there and all the people in the know, and
they were great places to go to.
You go all night and you'd have your drinks and
the one that turned into Raiders nightclub used to be, I think it was called the 134 Club.
Yeah, right.
And he'd go upstairs and he'd look through the peephole, and you know, if you looked sus, you didn't get in, or
if you looked all right, you got in.
But you know what I mean. But they were done out so fucking good, you know. And they were plush. It's better, like you go to the casino here, or anywhere. Well, they look like fucking just glorified RSLs.
And they're all the same. They're all the same, really, you know. Right. And it's just, you know, at the end of the day, it's all to take your dollars.
That's right.
Leave your wallet at the door, you pick it up empty on the way out.
You know, those places, they'd get you pissed a fart, you get free drinks.
Yeah, that's right.
So the more the drunk, the more you were going to fucking spend.
And a nice cheap buffet.
You know, exactly. So you know, and the girls walking around in their little fucking, you know, bunny outfits. And you know, but they were great places. And you didn't fuck around in them. You didn't start causing havoc in them places.
Keep yourself and have
fun. Sorted out real fucking quick. You know?
I can imagine.
But, you know, they were one of the things we started doing. We started knocking off a couple of the illegal places, you know. I mean, this is before I even got with Ned. And we were knocking off a couple, and, you know, and the blokes were saying, Jesus, don't get fucking caught. They'll blow your fucking heads off, you know what I mean? And, but, you know, we snuck through the break. I told them years and years later, when they became friends of mine, and, you know, I told Stan Smith about it, and, you know, he went, you fucking little prick. You know, he said, we thought it was this bloke and that bloke, and I knew that they pulled a few blokes up that I knew that were a bit older than me. And actually, I'm going to see one of them today.
Right.
But he...
What did Mr. Air, was it his ticker? I know Lenny's ticker packed up. And
well, Lenny, I was there when Lenny died. That was at Cessnock Jail. He was getting out 6 weeks after me. I was due out in March. I think he was due out in, you know, the month after. And but just before I got out, he went down, and he was up in the dormitories with me in C Wing at Cessnock Prison, just near the end of our sentences. And he just finished work. He worked in the kitchen. And he was 75, I think then, 74, 75, and always cranky and fucking stressed and walking around saying, I'm going to fucking die in here. I said, well, be careful what you wish for, mate. You know?
Chill out a little bit.
You know, he was always aggro, you know. Anyway, he got over on the fucking phone, and I was upstairs, and as he came in from the work, there was a big hamburger left over, and he fucking chewed into that. Well, he fucking ate it really quick. And I really thought he choked on the fucking thing, you know. But anyway, he walked downstairs and then got on the phone line down there. And then when it was his turn to get on the phone, I was up the stairs having a fucking cigarette. I was smoking them days. And I looked down at the fucking... And next fucking minute I heard him fucking roaring over the fucking phone of abusing someone, his solicitor or fucking... Anyway, next fucking minute he just went whoosh. And as he fell, I said to the other, he's fucking dead. Even before he hit the ground. And what had happened?
Because he was a big man.
He burst, his aorta burst. So once they burst, that's the fucking end of it.
That's it.
So down he went, and that was the fucking end of fucking land. And then Stan died in 2010. That's when I pulled the plug on this life. And because I thought, well, there's no one fucking around anymore to do anything with, and technology's getting too fucking... It's a young bloke's game, fucking old blokes. So... I said, I'm fucking getting out. But he was actually just having a drink of wine with his family, and then got up and just went to hop into bed and fell down on one knee and then held his chest and went down. But they had an autopsy on him, and the autopsy took months and months and months and months, and come back, and they couldn't really find that he'd fucking how he died. But see, Stan was
He was, what, 70 odd? Or
he was 74, I think, 75.
Yeah.
And he, I think he was born 36 or 39 or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he, when that autopsy came back, I looked at a mate of mine, Steve, who we used to run around with, and I said, well, you know, he's always experimenting with stuff. He thought he was a fucking scientist.
Yeah, right.
You know, he'd drink chlorine. He'd drink.
Oh, shit.
He'd do fucking strange stuff. He'd piss in a fucking midi glass and drink his own urine.
Oh, see, that's
you know?
something
And he said, no, this is good for you. I remember him doing it to Mickle Early when Mickle Early had cancer. And he said to Mick, this will get rid of it. So me and a bloke called Stevie Morehouse were in a pub, the Forest Lodge at fucking Glebe.
Yeah.
And next minute, Mickle and Stan was sitting down there with them, we're having a chat, and he said, the cancer's come back. And he said, well, do what I told you to do before. You stopped drinking your piss, haven't you? Yeah. So next thing, he's pulled out his dick, Stan, pissed in a midi glass, and fucking Mickle's pulled it out, and they both fucking scolded. I just looked at him and said, you blokes are a fucking pair of fucking morons.
I have a scooter in you. Yeah.
So, you know, and fucking a couple of years later, he was fucking dead, Mickle. You know what I mean?
I've heard that off lots of people in the other countries. It's like, why would you drink your piss?
Yeah.
It's waste.
Oh,
why are you
hell.
putting it back to go back
well,
out?
we had some technology to it.
And it smells not good.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I couldn't fucking believe it. He said, no, it's good for you. And I said, might
It's
save your
waste.
life in the middle of the fucking desert if you got any fluid left in your body. But
yeah, I'll stick to the
you know,
Tuies or
but,
Fosters
yeah,
or whatever.
fucking unbelievable. But he was always experimenting. Like I know blokes would be in the fucking pub and they'd say, you know, I got ulcers on my feet from fucking diabetes, and he'd go home, he'd make it. He was always helping someone out, you know. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And he'd make up fucking pastes and creams, and he'd give it to him, and it'd fucking get rid of it.
It sounded like he was in the alternative medicine
he
sort
was.
of thing.
He thrived on it. Thrived on
right.
that and conspiracy theories, and you know.
But you can keep your piss milkshake or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, you can keep that away from me. The stuff he used to tell me, I try this and this fucking. I said, mate, stick it up your ass. I'll just fucking die naturally.
Yeah, I'll have a
You know what I
vitamin.
mean? I'm not gonna fucking drink that shit. Oh, fucking the last thing I'm gonna do is drink my own piss. Fucking hell, unless, as I say, if I was struggling in the middle of the desert, I'd fucking.
Yeah, that's right. And you'd even have it reluctantly
But
there.
the worst thing you can do, I remember it happened, I think it was it Pringle, the footballer, or from Balmain or something? Everyone pissed in his glass. All his mates pissed in his glass, all different piss. Well, that's toxic.
Oh.
So he drank it, and he fucking near died.
It's,
Yeah,
the
fucking
smell alone,
Oh,
my God,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
you know, it's just one of them stupid party tricks. Fuck the party tricks.
I couldn't stand it, Graham. Unbelievable. Mate, I'll throw a few names at you.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Roger Rogerson.
Yeah, Roger. Well,
Roger the Dodger.
Yeah, well, he was a charismatic character. You know, he did us plenty of favours over the years. I've got to give him that.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say I've never paid him one fucking single fucking cent, and I don't care who believes that.
Yep.
Been asked that in the crime commissions, the ICAC commission. Never paid him a fucking single cent in my fucking life. I offered him 10 grand one day, and he told me to stick it up my ass.
Yeah, right.
Whether he thought I was wired up or something, I was trying to trap him, I don't know, but I was trying to get him on side over fucking Ned because I had a beef with him and I wanted to take him out of plane. I didn't want any fucking repercussions from the police. So, anyway, he said no. But and he always knew that I wanted to fucking square up with Ned because he knew that he'd try to pop me a few times. He said, well, you've worked that out yourselves and don't give a fuck about it. But
he's really messed up things at the moment.
Oh,
hasn't he?
well, he fucked his life, mate. But he, you know, as I say, done good things. But look, Roger was always, everyone thought he was this great, staunch fucking copper and, right, you know, and part of this brotherhood and he'd fuck. But look, he was a very clever detective in his fucking day. You wonder about it after he got fucking pinched for that murder. But
I couldn't believe it.
No, neither can I. But he was, you know, very clever. He was willing, and that's why they always put him up front because he'd fucking put one in him as quick as fucking look at him.
Yeah.
And he was, you know, and he had a lot of fucking power. He had fucking plenty of power. I can remember some thieves, some of the Mickle Hurley gang, they were caught in town by this new squad, a break-in squad they called them, and they used to go around and pinch all the fucking shoplifters and the smart fucking thieves, and so they knew these blokes were the big top pros, so they pinched them in town one day and demanded $5,000 a week off them, and they come and told us, and so we got Roger to fucking come down. They put on a meet down at the Bunny Bar, which is opposite the big hotel down at Circular Quay there, the, what's it called? I used to stay there all the time. Massive.
Oh, God, there's some big pubs there.
Yeah, no, it's a massive,
but it's all fancy now.
Massive big motel there, straight across the road in the main street.
It's Four Seasons now, I think. Is that what you're talking about? It used to be before that. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, there, and straight across the road was a big building. It was right near the corner of, heading down under the Harbour Bridge.
That's right.
And just in front of the Harbour Bridge. And anyway, so the gang said, OK, we'll meet you down there next fucking Thursday and we'll pay you down there.
Yep.
So they said, fucking beautiful. Well, we're on a good drink here. So they go down there and they turn up. Yeah. And then fucking Roger walked in on his own. Didn't have anyone else with him.
Yep.
Walked over and he fucking lined them all up against the wall. And he fucking give them the biggest dressing down you've ever fucking seen. They all walked out with their tail between their fucking legs. Yeah, yeah. And he said, don't you go anywhere near them fucking blokes. Because naturally they were fucking, had the green light as fucking well.
Yeah, yeah.
And, and they could fucking do it because, that's what we were, the organised crime crews.
Yeah.
And,
but that's a powerful situation.
That's
He's not a huge bloke.
No, you couldn't squeeze the top off a fizzy drink.
Yeah, that's
right.
What I mean?
But he had the power.
Yeah,
and he was charismatic. He was fucking, I've got to say, he was good fucking company, as much as fucking, I wasn't real keen on drinking with fucking detectives, but, look, they always put themselves, they mainly always come to see Ned.
Yeah.
They'd fucking get there and we'd be in the company and, so they got there. But
I heard it was at Goulburn Street. There was a pub down there in Goulburn Street years ago. I heard they all had a big night down there, and he popped one off or whatever in the pub. Whether that's true, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
pulling them out. But I remember some coppers down at the Quarryman Hotel pulling them out one night, and we drew some circles on the dunny doors there. And we pulled them out and started shooting them, and so did they.
Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, I thought they used to have to account for their bullets. I don't know how they got away with that. But
an understanding publican.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was a good bloke, actually. Yeah. And, but look, in saying that he was good, he worked for the cops, against the cops.
Yep.
He worked for the crooks, and against the crooks.
Yeah.
Roger would give a fuck about himself.
Yep.
I mean, I went to the fucking wedding.
Yeah, right.
When he married his wife, and she's a lovely lady. But
I've heard that. Yeah.
And he fucking put it through well with his fucking bullshit, I guess. But and she thought that he was fucking pretty squeaky fucking clean, and you know what I mean. He was a little bit tainted, but wow, But look, in saying that, I know that he got up into court and had letters of comfort handed up on his behalf because he gave up other police. Actually, a copper who come from Gladesville here, who murdered a woman. I think it was another woman, a prostitute, and fucking buried her out at. I can't remember his name now. You'd probably remember his name. And he got a life sentence, and he was in Berrima prison. So when Roger was down there in Berrima, he started sucking his brain, found out where the bloke had buried him, and give him up. He gave information against him when he needed to, because he got pinched for a perjury charge.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And goods in custody and money, $100,000 or something. And so a letter of comfort was handed up on his behalf. So the letter of comfort was that he'd given up this other copper. And he was always doing sneaky things on the side. And then, when Michael Drury was shot, he was involved as far as the bribing went.
Yep.
And he was involved in sending police down to Chris Flannery's place, who they all alleged fucking shot him. And as I've said before, Laurie Prendergast shot Michael Drury, not Chris Flannery. Yeah. And they were somewhere together to cover their asses.
Yeah.
And then they needed the scapegoat, and I became the scapegoat, and they tried to murder me. But, I got through the fucking break. So that's the other shit side of the bloke.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the treachery of that life.
Yeah.
And you know, I learned to live with that fucking treachery and fucking accepted it, that it was part of the fucking go anyway. So,
Yep.
and I was lucky that I'm still here, that I had this incredible awareness all the time that kept me on my toes.
Yeah, you
But
have.
we've
yeah.
spoken about that before.
We have, yeah.
And
yeah.
so no good going down that road. But then, and then he leaves the police force, and I actually did a couple of speaking shows with him after it. And one
I know
night,
he was doing, and he was doing some walking tours around the rocks
that's
and the city.
And blokes
yeah.
have said to me, well, if he did things like that, how come you... I said, listen, that's all fair in love and war, mate. Look, I get over fucking shit pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't fucking brood and hate every motherfucker. I used to as a young bloke.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, it only poisons your system, hating people, so...
It does,
And,
yeah.
you know,
it creates problems for you. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I did a little bit of a fucking tour with him, only about fucking 3 or 4 I did with him.
Yep.
And speaking tours, and he'd never get up and tell the truth anyway. It was pretty boring, and people used to fucking fall off, fucking nodding off.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
I'd have to get up and liven them up.
Well,
But I remember we were coming back from Brisbane. We went to a show, and anyway, when we're coming back on the plane, I said, listen, when that business happened with fucking Drury,
yeah,
I said, you must think I'm a fucking complete and utter fucking idiot.
yeah.
And he said, why is that? And I said, because I know you sent a detective down to Chris Flannery's place,
Yeah,
right, to fucking get them to fucking set someone up for the underworld murders at the time that were unsolved,
yeah,
and the Drury shooting. And I was the one who had the fucking gun,
yep,
right,
yeah,
as I've spoken about before. I had the gun
Yep.
that shot Michael Drury.
yeah.
And I said, you think I don't fucking know that? I've known that all the fucking time, Roger.
Yeah, what did
Right?
yeah, that would
And
have
he
gone
said,
down.
oh, you're fucking paranoid. He said, you're fucking paranoid, Abbo. I said, no.
Not paranoid.
I'm aware, mate. That's
Yeah.
what I am. I've got this really good awareness.
Yeah.
So after that, we were on a sort of a bit of a rocky fucking edge.
Yeah,
And then he ended up doing this stupid crime. I mean,
Oh.
I've seen him from time to time here and there around town, and
It was
he,
insane. What he
you
what he
know,
did was
but
insane, mate. It was
But
like
even to be tied up with the policeman that he did get tied up with, that McNamara.
Yeah.
McNamara had already given up half the King's Cross police,
I've heard that he was a total
force.
dog.
He always worked against the coppers, giving them up.
Yep.
Making deals for himself because he got caught fucking rooting out of school or fucking taking bribes. So he walked around giving everyone up. So
Yeah.
and that was his free reign. And then how he got tied up with Roger.
Yeah.
And then they start fucking doing things together, and I thought, oh, well, birds of a feather flock together, so...
And he
you know,
must have been
and
desperate for a quid at the
But
time.
look,
Fucking
I
hell.
believe, like you see that camera move, in the video they show of
Yep.
them meeting the
Yeah.
fucking Chinese bloke, when they fucking pull up, a carload pulls up,
Yep.
right, and they disappear, them 2 blokes, and go back to Malaysia, wherever they come from.
Yeah.
Never ever been called forward, ever.
Yep.
The fucking blokes. They would have known the number plate. They know who they were.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was a complete setup because that camera is a fixed camera
Yeah.
and all it does is look at the ground, right?
Yes.
But
Yep.
on that day, all of a sudden it happened to move
Yep.
and went up the road and watched him hop in the car. Well, they thought the deal was just going to go down there and then they drove off. Well, it threw the coppers out of gear. I think it was a setup from word go and they lost their fucking... When they've got around there, they've realised the bloke was wired up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they fucking just shot him.
It's
That's my
unbelievable.
belief. I just fucking really believe that. That was a setup.
I'd take your word for
You
it.
know.
Yeah. But, I mean, you can't miss Roger.
They've always
he's got
wanted
a
him.
bung hit. Like
He's he
looked
couldn't
more
get
like
away in a fucking
penguin,
dark
sort of.
night, mate. No.
He's had a bung hit for a long time.
Jerry
but-
fell off a roof, and fucked his hip, you know. I mean, he looked like fucking... I remember one day we were walking down the street, and I think it was on Current Affair or something, and he's walking, I said... I look like Marshall Dillon, you look like fucking...
Penguin.
Like he's offside. His name was... he used to say, is that you, Mr. Dillon? Well, the Americans would know all about the show. And anyway, he was... Chester, his name was. He had a wooden leg.
Yeah, right.
That's it. He's walking like up and down.
Always remind me of the penguin.
I'm walking
Batman,
straight and this
sort of.
fucking bloke's fucking up and up the street. I mean, he looked fucking terrible, fucking poor bastard. But
quite
God knows how he looks now. I mean, he'd be fucking 80 now.
Oh, shocking. I feel
But,
sorry for his missus too.
Yeah,
sort
I
of,
mean,
you know.
she was a lovely lady, and one day I said something on Facebook about him setting me up, him and the Crime Commission copper Mark Standen,
Yep.
the Assistant Director of the Crime Commission. And, you know, he was involved with a fucking little police informant that tried to get rid of me, Michael Hurley, Stan Smith, fucking, and another mate of mine. And they were all behind it. But what I was going to say was, yeah, I give him a bit of a spray on my Facebook page, and she got in touch with me and said, "Why would you say those things about him?" Because it's fucking facts.
That's true. Oh, she actually got in touch with you. Yeah.
I said, well, unfortunately, it's true, love. So,
yeah,
you know,
I'm not having a go. I'm just speaking the truth.
I'll just tell the fucking facts how they are. I mean, I can't hurt him. He was doing life anyway, so.
Oh no,
you know, I waited till all these fucking appeals are fucking finished. So,
yeah,
you know,
unbelievable, mate. We'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up shortly. Tony Mockbell.
No, I didn't really have anything to do with him. No, I had nothing to do with Tony Mockbell.
Yeah, right. He stuffed anyway. So yeah,
none of that. They're the only blokes down there I got around with Matty Thomas, Mick Gatto. You know, lovely bloke, fucking gentleman.
I've heard that. I've never met him.
He is a gentleman.
I've only seen him, but he's got such a good reputation in Melbourne, mate. He's you know, and people come to him.
He's pretty easy to talk to.
Yeah,
you know, I got on good with him. I had a little bit of a tiff with him one day over the phone over a little bit of fucking money that I got off his old partner.
Yeah,
Matty Tomas, and you know, but I got the money off Matty Tomas, not Mick.
Yeah,
and Mick thought it was owed to him, and I said, no, I've got it off fucking him. I'll deal with him. Deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, but no, we're quite friendly.
Yeah.
You know, I like Mick. I think he's good company. I've had some had a terrific night down there with him one night. Actually, Rogerson was there.
Yeah.
And he went down with some bloke who was a fucking private detective. This bloke. And a fucking pest. He drove fucking Mick mad.
Did he? Yeah.
Oh, he fucking drove him mad with questions and fucking shit. So I had to pull the fucking bloke up, you know.
Yeah.
I said, mate, listen, pull your fucking head in, or I'm going to fucking leave you on the
Someone's
fucking floor.
Someone's going to do their nana in a minute,
you know, So, but we had a terrific night that night. We got up, we fucking sung fucking Italian songs and fucking... We had a ball, you know, in a lovely restaurant in fucking Lygon Street.
Yeah.
But, look, they're the only blokes down there, really. Look, there other blokes I run with down there. Steve Neddy, who was a fucking, you know, they used to call him the Mad. He was an ex-painter and docker, and he just died now. He was a lot older than me.
Yeah.
You know, he just died. He had bad dementia.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible. Yeah, but a fucking really tough bloke. He used to be a lightweight champ in Australia. Yeah, you know, there's a few other blokes down there. We won't mention them. They probably wouldn't like me mention them.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, but that's about those blokes. You know, I did business with blokes down there over the years.
Yep.
You know, as we all did, we intertwined here and there.
Yeah.
But you know, but the ones who came up from there try and make themselves, you know, something up here, like Flannery and fucking Les Cole and fucking all that, all went home in body bags.
Oh, mate, yeah.
You know, the only one never did.
Flannery was too much on the.
Well, he was always on the toot, Flannery.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, snorting the cocaine, and he used to have that before he'd go and do a fucking hit. You know what I mean? So
Dutch courage.
Yeah. You know, so I didn't really, you know, I sort of liked him years ago. Where I actually met him in prison long before anyone up here did, and. I sort of liked him, but when he got with his wife, he was a fucking completely different fucking kettle of fish.
I've heard nightmares.
No, she's a
horrible.
She's a fucking thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, like they, you know, the old like old Ma Barker, she reminded me of.
Yeah.
She rang up my wife one day when she was having my youngest child in the Wahroonga Hospital, private hospital in Wahroonga there.
Yeah, I know it well.
And she said, enjoy this baby, your husband won't be with you much longer, because they were expecting to kill. Well, at the time I didn't know it was her, but as it turned out, I found out who it was.
Fucking
hell. And she was an informer anyway. She gave up evidence against Tom Dommican that he shot him, and that she tried to kill Chris and her, and yet she rang up on my telephone, the fucking following day on Ned Smith's telephone, and said, Abbo just tried to fucking kill us. I just saw him drive past, you know. And then Ned rang me, and I said, yeah, what are you doing? He said, where have you been?
I was at the pub.
I said, I was out fucking fishing. Why? Where you been? He said, I said, what do you want to know that for? He said, Chris Flannery just got shot at. I said, well, they get him.
Yeah.
Said, oh, they nicked his ear or something and his fucking wrist or something. I said, well, that was a kind of a shot. So, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And he said, well, she's blaming you. I said, well, let's go down and fucking front him.
Yeah, yeah.
So we went down to go down to the hospital. Well, there was too many coppers around there. He was in St George Hospital. So a few days later when he got out, I met him down the Nelson, and next one he's pulling out a book showing me all these pictures of blokes that he'd had over the years, Melbourne blokes, and, you know, looking for all these people he might think it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, but your wife blamed me. Yeah. And he said, oh, no, she was wrong. I said, well, because he pulled up in a Jag, a green Jag, and I had a green Jag. I said, what do you think? I'd pull up my own fucking car. I'm not that fucking sweet. I'm not that fucking sweet with the cops. I can do that much. Fuck me dead. Fuck me dead. You'd have to be a fucking super narc to be able to fucking do that. Fuck me dead. But anyway, so, yeah, but, you know, wow. Just fucking, he was another fucking loose cannon.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're the only blokes really from down there that I've got around with. And,
yeah. Yeah. No, I've heard what you were saying before.
Yeah.
I've heard Mick Gatto's a lovely fellow.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
I've seen him in that, but I don't know
yeah.
him. But
He's pretty good. He's pretty switched on too in his business, and you know, whether he's, you know, I mean, they throw up all this shit about him, and as they, you know, as they do about all of us. Yeah. You know, unfortunately, and you know, and showing a shit to blanket little stick.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, since then, mate, you've done pretty well too, because you're an author now too of a couple of books.
Yeah, mate.
You've got a website, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. It's called atreacherouslife.com.
Oh, right. Yep. Terrific. Yeah.
You know, I just sell paraphernalia off that.
It's doing all right, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
And again, everything you speak is about public record. There's nothing you haven't spoken about at all.
Well, it's history, mate. It's criminal
exactly
history in
right.
Sydney.
Yeah, you've done
that
lots of podcasts.
That organised crime doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And that's why my interest has always been with crime and that, because it's a part of Australia, and I think I said it in the last one, that you just don't see anymore. It's a completely different ball game, and the real life stories that you got to tell. So
yeah, exactly.
Look, I think it's terrific. We'll wrap it up shortly.
Yeah,
thank you very much once again for coming.
Right,
We've had some, I'd like to thank the gentleman from Gladesville here today to help us with the studio.
Yeah.
We've had some technical problems, which are sorting out. I'm waiting for new equipment, and then we'll be back in my elite studio in the garage at home. And I finished the bar, and we've finished everything, which is good. So we'll be back there shortly, and we've got a lot of support, and you've helped us out a lot.
No, that's all right, mate.
I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, no, that's no problem.
And we're hoping, you know, and again, as I always say, we are amateur, and in a year I hope to be progressing from there. And we're sort of learning all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And our views are picking up and things like that, and and again, it's all public record. We're not here to offend anyone.
Talking out of school or...
Exactly right.
Yeah, exactly.
And certainly don't want to offend YouTube. They've been good to us, and I want to stick with YouTube. And we'll get videos going again shortly. And we've got some more interesting stuff coming up in the future, and some more stories of Sydney and King's Cross, and maybe one or two people you might have known.
I've got a good bloke in mind. So.
Yeah, fantastic, and we're grateful for that. Yeah. Down the track too, later in the year, I've got this, what I'm waiting for, the equipment. We'll have 6 people, but if you'd come on down the track and we'll do a co-host.
Yeah, mate.
You can fling a few questions, and we can all have a chat, and that'd be terrific.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Thank you very much,
Not
sir.
a problem, mate.
You're a total gentleman. This was round 3.
Round 3, that's
round 3. We extended the series to 3. We're going to have 2, and the response has been fantastic. I tell you, it'd be a fantastic. You should have been in the movies and a talk show host. But no, we're really grateful. So that was episode 11, and we'll be back. We're looking at probably one a month at this stage. I'd like to make more, but it's not as easy even as there's a fair bit of work to whack it together. So I say to our supporters, we're still very small, but we're coming up to our 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
Of which about 60 of those are due to you. So thank you very much.
That's all right, mate.
And we want to keep expanding on that. So and we're going to try and keep getting better and spending a bit of money and trying to get things going, because we would like to eventually make some money out of it. And we want to stick with YouTube. We don't want to upset them.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Look, I can't see what we've done to upset them.
No,
so,
well,
you know, but
either could I. I mean, I've spoke about
many times,
many
times.
things about my life and on everyone's podcast.
Absolutely.
Cancel Me Now, What Cat Killers,
Yeah.
Tipsy Tales.
Absolutely.
You know,
and all public record.
Yeah.
And you retired in 2010. And,
Yeah, mate, yeah.
You're a good family man.
Yeah,
and,
mate.
You
Just
know,
look after my family, and that's all I do. My
Absolutely.
grandkids,
and I
that's
would
me
too.
life.
Grandfather, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you wouldn't piddle on Granddad's boots, I tell
No.
you that. No. But anyway, thanks very much, everyone. We'll be back within the month. That was episode 11. Looking forward to 12. Mr. Graham Abbott Henry, as usual, you're a gentleman, a scholar and a gentleman. Well, I wasn't much of a scholar, but we like to think we're gentlemen
Yeah,
anyway.
cool. Exactly.
Thanks very much, swingers, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you, sir.
Good as gold, mate.
Bye.